like, oops. So, good morning. And please make your way into a comfortable seat. Turn your thighs in with your hands. Place your fingertips at your sides. And as you lightly push down with the fingertips, lengthen the sides of the torso. Move the top of the upper arm bones back. Take the head lightly back. And then place the hands up or down on your legs, maintaining all of that. Yesterday, I was listening to a talk by one of my teachers, and she was telling a story, and I referenced this for those of you that were in tonight, but she was talking about a teaching that we all know. She was telling a story and relating it to this understanding that the poses are not destination. They're not the goal. Even when we work toward any particular pose, that destination is not the significance of the practice, that the significance of the practice is in the way we meet the moments along the way as we move toward the destination, and the lessons that we learn and the understandings that we uncover along the way. And that's a really key teaching in yoga. It's important to have a direction. It's important to have an intention. It's important to know where we're going in this practice. And then it's more important to pay attention to the steps that we make along that path. And it had a layer of relevance for me right now that was nuanced with the current circumstances. And I was thinking about right now of destinations, of like eradicating the virus or eradicating racism. And we have these really, really big goals that at times can seem, for me at least, overwhelming and impossible to reach. And so it was this teaching that I came across again yesterday was a reminder that it's not important whether we eradicate the virus or racism in the world. And of course, those are very valuable destinations. Those are really significant goals. And that the lessons that we learn along the way and the opportunities to feel into the process and what is involved in the process of moving toward those goals is the significance. And that might be uncovering layers of vulnerability, of fear, of privilege, and of a deeper connection to our core values and really where we want to spend energy and effort and time. So with that in mind, this morning we'll work very significantly toward a goal, recognizing that that goal pose and that pose that we're moving toward is a finite destination, and it doesn't matter even whether we reach it or not. What is significant is the way that we interact with ourselves along the way that we engage in the process of moving toward that particular destination, and the truth that we uncover, the ourselves, and the truth, the universal truth that we that is revealed along the way. So please close your eyes. And bring your attention into your body. Notice your breath. And feel into the exchange, the interaction, and the relationship between the breath and the body. So what in the body responds to the inhale and what responds to the exhale. And recognize in these opening moments the way you're meeting the practice this morning. And then take a moment to really clearly articulate in whatever way is resonant to yourself that this practice is a process. It's a process gradually uncovering or revealing the layers of misunderstanding and misperception, the layers of vulnerability, the ways that we attach, avoid, become passive, become aggressive. And that as we come to know ourselves better, the truth of who we ultimately are is continually brought to the surface of our understanding. The process is infinite. The tradition says there's always more. There's always more to uncover. There's always more to understand. There's always more. And then with your next exhalation, join your hands together at your heart. And we'll affirm that intention and initiate physical practice with one Om. Take a full breath in. And drop your head over for a moment to the heart, recognizing that the heart is interested in our connection to the process and not to the result of that process. And then release your hands, lift your head, and come into extended child's pose. So touch the big toes together. Separate the knees. Sit back on the heels, and if that's not so available for your knees this morning, fill in the space between your heels and your hips with a blanket. And then keeping the hips back on the heels, walk the hands forward and drop the forehead to the ground. Pause here, and you can bend the elbows if that's feeling appropriate. And the main purpose of these three opening positions, extended child's pose, down dog, and Uttanasana, standing forward bend, is that the head is lower than the heart. And that's a reminder for the activity of the mind to give over and to surrender to the subtler voice of the heart. The mind is adept, and that's its purpose, is to disseminate and to separate and to categorize and to systematize and to move us toward goals in that sometimes more overt process. And the heart is the place subtler voice as the guide into the experience along the way and the moments of illumination that appear spontaneously at various points. So taking 1 or 2 more breaths here, soften the jaw and the eyes. And then walk the hands forward away from you so that you, as you keep the hips back on the heels, you feel more length come to the sides of the torso. Place the hands in preparation for downward facing dog, but without coming up yet. Turn the triceps down and around toward the sides of the face. And now, lifting the head more than needed, come up onto the knees, tuck the toes under, lift up and press back, downward facing dog. Let go of the head completely. Press the pads of the fingers down, the knuckles at the base of the index fingers and the heels of the thumbs. And then pull the hips strongly back, away from the hands, lengthening the sides of the torso. Spin the inner thighs toward the wall behind you a bit more than usual, so your heels come out and you're standing a little more pigeon-toed. Anchor that by engaging the outer hips, and that the heels pull in toward each other. Release the head again, 1 more breath. And then slowly walk the feet up to the hands. Standing forward bend, Uttanasana, let the head hang. Position the feet again so that the heels are a little wider than usual, and your toes are slightly turned in toward the middle of the mat. Bend the knees a little bit. Rotate the inner knees and the inner thighs toward the wall behind you. As you do that, stretch the legs straighter, especially feeling that straightening along the inner edge of the legs. Steady yourself by squeezing the outer calves and the outer hips toward the midline. And fold well over the legs, 1 more breath. Bring the hands to the hips, lift the chin, press into the heels, inhale, come up. Exhale, release your arms to your sides. Step the feet a little closer together. We'll do sun salutations, Surya Namaskar, but we'll do a couple of arm positions in between each round of the sun salutation. So first, inhale, stretch the right arm alongside the right ear. Rotate the tricep toward the head, and you can use your left hand to help with that. And then bend the right elbow. Press the right upper arm more back behind you. And lengthen along the right side of the torso. So from the pelvis, push into the heel, the right heel in particular, and then lengthen along the right side of the torso, extending the elbow toward the ceiling as a continuation of that line. Exhale, release that arm down. And then the other side, stretch the left arm up, and turn the tricep toward the head, bend the elbow. And then use your your right hand on your left upper arm to lift the elbow up a little bit and move the arm back behind the head. Breathe. And feel into the sensations as a way to attune to the process of the practice. Join your hands at your heart. Inhale, sweep the arms out and up overhead, look up. Join the palms as you exhale, trace the midline of the body or fold over in any way that works for you. Hands on the shins, ankles, or keep the fingertips on the ground. Inhale, lengthen the front of the torso, look forward. Place the hands flat, and as you exhale, step or lightly hop back into downward facing dog. Inhale, come forward into plank pose. Bend the knees to the ground as needed. Reach the chest forward and then lower halfway down, Chaturanga Dandasana. Drop onto the floor. Inhale, curl your head and chest up. Cobra pose. Exhale. Tuck the toes under, press back, downward facing dog. Take a breath or two here. Press into the inner edges of the hands. And turn the triceps toward the face. Spin the inner knees and the inner groins toward the wall. And firm the outer edges of the legs at the outer calves and the outer hips. Look forward, inhale, walk or lightly hop. Forward to your hands, look forward. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come all the way up. Stretch the arms overhead. Exhale, hands to your heart. Garudasana arms. Inhale, and take the arms to the sides. And then as you exhale, right elbow under left. If that doesn't work for your arms, forearms together, or you can give yourself a big hug as other options for the pose. Wherever you are, lift the elbows slightly up and press them forward. Take the hands slightly away from the face if the hands are in front of you, and move your head back a little bit. Now here, turn the head all the way to the right, to center, to left, center. One more time, right, and then left. Release the arms, stretch them to the sides, and then the other cross, so left elbow under right. Garudasana arms, eagle arms. Stretch the elbows away from you, the hands away from you, and move your head back a bit. And then turn the head to the left, center, right, center. One more time each side. And then release the arms. Inhale, sweep arms overhead. Exhale, fold forward, Uttanasana, standing forward bend. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, half forward bend. Exhale, step or hop into downward facing dog. Inhale, plank. Exhale, knees to the ground as needed. Come forward, and then come halfway down, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale. Hips down, curl the head and shoulders back away from the ground, Cobra, Bhujangasana. Exhale, downward facing dog. Couple of breaths here. Micro bend the elbows. Pull the hips back. Turn the inner knees and the inner groins toward the wall behind you and firm the outer calves and the outer hips. Look forward. Inhale, walk or hop to your hands. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, hands at your heart. So here we'll do the bottom half of Gomukhasana arms. So stretch the left arm out to the left. Rotate the whole arm at the shoulder so that the palm turns back toward the wall behind you. And then bend the elbow. So make sure that you're working in a range of motion that makes sense for your shoulder. So you can have just the hand at the hip or the hand at the back, or you can Draw the elbow a little more in toward the side of the body and walk your left fingers up toward the base of the neck. Wherever you are, then move the top of the left upper arm bone back. Take the head back. And then let the shoulder roll forward. You can even round the back a bit to release. And change sides. Stretch the right arm out. Rotate the whole arm at the shoulder socket. Bend the elbow. Take whatever hand position you did on the first side. You may walk your right elbow in toward the body and the fingertips up toward the head. And then lengthen the right side of the torso and move the top of the right upper arm bone back. So move the top of the arm and the elbow, both a little bit back, but the top of the arm faster than the elbow joint. And then round and release. Stretch the back to the side just for a moment. And then join your hands at your heart. Inhale, circle the arms overhead. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, half forward bend. Exhale, step or hop, downward facing dog. Inhale, plank. Come forward a bit more, drop the knees to the ground as needed. Exhale, lower halfway down. Drop the hips. Inhale, curl the head and shoulders up. Pull your hands toward your feet and send the heart forward. Exhale, downward facing dog. Breathe. Use the breath to feel into the pose and adjust from the internal experience as opposed to the mind's understanding of what should be happening in the pose. And then look forward, bend the knees, walk or lightly hop to your hand. Looking forward, then exhale, fold. Inhale, come up. Exhale, hands at your heart. So full Gomukhasana arms. Stretch the left arm out, rotate up the shoulder joint, bend the elbow behind you. As much as possible, draw the left elbow in, walk the left fingertips up toward the back of the head, toward the base of the head, base of the neck. Stretch the right arm up, turn the bend the elbow, and maybe hold your shirt, maybe catch your fingertips, and then breathe. Move the top of the left upper arm bone back. Lengthen the sides of the torso, both sides. And then lift the right elbow up and move it all behind you. Release the hands. Disengage the right arm and then roll the left shoulder forward to release it. Other side. So right arm out, rotate. And as you bend the elbow, you can round a little forward in that process of getting the arm into the position, and then lift up a bit and move the top of the right upper arm bone back. Stretch the left arm up, turn the tricep toward the head, bend the elbow. Hold something, your shirt or the fingertips. As you lift the top of the right upper arm bone up, the right shoulder up, move the upper arm bone back. Keeping the size of the torso even and equal, length the left upper arm so that the elbow reaches up toward the ceiling. And then release the left arm first, and then disengage the right. Join your hands at your heart. Inhale. Sweep the arms out and up overhead. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lengthen the front of the torso, half forward bend.
Exhale, step or hop, downward facing dog. Inhale, come forward into plank. Then bring the shoulders forward more. Exhale, lower halfway down. Inhale, curl into the back bend. Exhale, downward facing dog. Breathe here. And use the connection to the breath to feel into the body. And again, adjust the body and the pose from the connection to the sensations and to the breath. In what way can I give more space to the breath? How can I release tension? And have the pose and my body move toward a more intimate connection, relationship. Look forward. Inhale, walk or lightly hop to your hands. Exhale, fold over the legs. Inhale, up. Exhale, hands at your heart. We're going to do just a couple of standing poses. So face the long edge of the mat and then step or lightly hop your feet really wide apart. Trikonasana, triangle pose. Turn the left foot in and then rotate the right leg and foot out. Firm your right thigh and pressing into the big toe side of the right foot, hug your right hip underneath you. Today we're going to put the torso on the inside leg and the hand on the inside of the foot. So inhale the arms to the sides, lift up a bit, lengthen the right side of the torso, and as you reach forward, keep hugging the right hip in, but put your right hand down on the inside edge of the foot. You could also hold the ankle or the shin. So now keeping your back leg strong and straight, push into the big toe side of the right foot and lengthen the entire inside edge of the right leg. Keeping that length, hug the outer right calf in, hug the outer right hip in. Lengthen the right side of the torso and then pushing firmly into your feet, inhale, come up. Exhale, turn the feet, lower the arms and come into the second side. So right foot in, left leg and foot out. Inhale, stretch the arms to the sides. Keep the back leg strong and straight. And pushing the big toe side of the front foot down. Lengthen the entire inseam of that leg and hug your left hip underneath you. Lift up a bit. As you stretch out, now bring the torso on the inside edge of the leg, unusually. Push the back heel down. Keep the big toe side of your front foot well planted. Lengthen the inseam of the left leg, but do hug the left hip underneath you. Lengthen the left side of the torso. Draw the shoulder blades away from the ears, and then pushing into your heels. Inhale. Exhale, turn the feet, lower the arms. Inhale, feet together. And then we're going to do extended side angle. Same thing, the hand on the inside edge of the foot. So inhale, take the feet really wide apart, maybe a little wider. Turn the left leg and foot slightly in, the right leg and foot out. So if anything, have the back leg turned a little more in than usual. Plant the big toe side of the front foot and lengthen the inner edge of the thigh, from the inner way to the inner heel. Inhale, stretch the arms to the sides. Exhale, deeply bend your front knee. Do track it over the middle toes. Make the inner edge of that leg long. Then take your hand, put it on the inside edge of the foot. You can bring your left hand to your hip or you could stretch it straight up. Push down into your left heel. Deeply bend your front knee and bring as much of the right side of your torso down on the inside of your right thigh as possible. Then take the head back, turn the chest up, and stretch into your top arm if it's lifted. Push into both heels. Inhale, come up. Exhale, lower the arms, turn the feet. Second side. So rotate the left leg and foot, right leg and foot in. Spin the left leg and foot out. Inhale the arms to the sides. So really keep the back leg strong and straight. And then exhale, deeply bend the front knee, angling it straight over the middle toes. Lift up a bit on the left side, and then put the entire left side of the torso on the inside of your left thigh. You can even put the hand flatter on the ground and bring the left rib cage, the left side of the rib cage, on the inside edge of the left thigh. Then roll back. Feel into the difference that this variation of the pose creates. New understanding to the body, a deeper connection to the body. And then pushing into the heels, inhale, come up. Exhale, turn the feet. Inhale, feet together. Standing spread leg, forward bend. So inhale, take the feet wide apart. Turn the feet a little more in than you might usually. So the toes are angled in, and make sure the toes are at the same height. Put the hands on the hips. Inhale. Hinge forward. Place the fingertips on the ground. And then turn the inner edges of the legs back toward the wall behind you, especially the inner knees and the upper inner thighs. At the same time, keep the sitting bones in line with the heels. And firm the muscles right around the sitting bones so the lower half of the buttocks stays strong and engaged. Then, without changing the legs, walk the hands forward, out away from you momentarily. And take the torso down in between the arms. Breathe. Feel into the length on the front side of the torso. And now, keeping that length, walk the hands back between the feet. Bend the elbows straight back toward the wall behind you and reach the crown of the head toward the ground. Maybe touch. Keep spinning the inner knees and the inner groins back toward the wall behind you. And at the same time, firm the muscles right around the sitting bones and squeeze the outer calves toward the midline. Lift the head and shoulders up, walk the hands underneath the shoulders, and now rotate the arms so that the fingers point back in the same direction as the heels. Fold over, walk your hands through your legs, and reach your hands back toward the wall behind you, the wall that you're now gazing at as you fold between the legs as much as possible. So watch your balance here, especially if your head is not on the ground. And then walk your hands back forward. Under your shoulders, lift your head and chest. Heel toe your feet in a couple of times. Put your hands on your hips, lift your chin. Step the feet together. Come up. Step the feet together. Face the short edge of the mat. And then with the feet hip distance apart, exhale, fold over the legs, standing forward bend. Uttanasana. Take your heels out, again wider than the toes. And turn the inner knees and the inner groins back toward the wall behind you. Lengthen the inner edges of the legs from the inner groins to the inner heels.
and fold the torso fully down over the legs. Lift the shoulders, put the head, inhale and come up. So we're going to do a forward bend that has the option of going into an arm balance. Dvipada Bhujasana. So you can stay in a position or you can work on the arm balance. Remembering that it doesn't matter what's accomplished, it's really this process of feeling into and moving toward poses and paying attention to what gets illuminated and revealed along the way. So this time, take your feet a little wider apart. So my feet as wide as the mat. Turn the feet slightly out this time. Bend the knees deeply and line the knees over the middle toes. Fold down and place the hands on the ground. Release the head. So, now take the hands one at a time in between the legs and put them around to hold the backs of the heels or ankles, or have your hands either on the ground, or you could lift your heels and put your hands under your heels. Release your head. Most importantly here, squeeze the knees strongly in against the upper arms. And that's the most significant part. If you're staying here, stretch the legs a little straighter. If you're going forward, reach your hips toward the wall behind you. Lift your head. Throw your chest forward as you take the hips back. Lift your heels. Walk your feet in toward the midline a little bit and lift your feet up off the ground. Reach your hips back, your heart forward. Sometimes we exit by rolling backwards. Other times we bring the feet back to the ground. Release the arms. Put the hands on the hips. Inhale and come up. Exhale. So, a blanket for your knees. You can place the blanket across the mat and then stand in the front. We'll forward bend again, but more the classic position. So here, just to give a little more space to the lower back, turn the toes in, and then exhale, fold forward. Bend the knees, place the fingertips beside the feet, and then step the left foot all the way back into a straight leg lunge. And then drop the left knee down to the ground. Put the right hand on the inside of the right foot and turn the right foot and the knee slightly out to the right. With your hands on the inside edge of the foot, decide if this is already enough. If you feel adequate sensation on the front of the left thigh, possibly stay here. And if you're staying here, squeeze the right knee against the right upper arm and press the right upper arm back against the knee. To go further, the options would be to walk your hands a little forward and to bring the left elbow to the ground. If you can get your left elbow to the ground, possibly lower your right elbow to the ground. More importantly, keep the right knee squeezing in so it stays over the middle toes and it doesn't open to the side, which will be more of the tendency. Lengthen through the front line of the torso as best you can in whatever position you're in. Keep the shoulder blades away from the ears. One more breath. Come back up onto your hands. You could just stay on your knees and change sides, or you can come back into the high lunge position, right hand to the outside of the right foot,
step forward, and then change sides. So left foot forward, right knee back, and then lower the right knee down to the blanket. Take the left hand inside the left foot. I'm going to walk my left foot over a step, and then turn the left foot and the knee out. So the knee stays over the middle toes. And then again, pause. And take a breath or two. Notice the temptation to become very goal-oriented and think that the purpose of this position is to get the elbows to the ground. It's about keeping the knees squeezing in so it stays over the middle toes. So perhaps walk the hands a little forward, maybe make your way onto your right elbow. Maybe make your way down onto your left elbow. Squeeze the left knee in. Enough, like so it's not all the way in. It's not the big toe, but it'll tend to roll out to the baby toe. So keep it straight over the middle toes. Lengthen the front line of the torso wherever you're at. Descend the shoulder blades and reach the center of the heart forward toward the short edge of the mat. One more breath. And then inhale, come on up. Just everybody swing the front foot back and sit on your heels for a moment. The next position is Malasana, a squat. So if that's not a good idea for the knees, then you could do chair position, this one. The other option is you could have a chair, like sit on something, your bed, a chair, your couch, whatever, and do the forward bend position, seated. So if you're sitting, you would sit on a chair with your feet wider apart, fold forward, and walk your arms through your legs like that, in this direction. If you can do that, you're gonna start with the feet together, and I'm gonna support the heels with height. So I'm gonna use the blanket for my heels because I want my heels in contact with the ground and they don't touch the ground in the squat with the feet together for me. So if your body allows that, then you don't need support on your heels. And then sit down so that the big toes touch. For the moment, just have the knees together and wrap your arms around your knees. Descend the shoulders. So you do this if you were sitting in a chair, same thing. And you can also do this standing if you're in Utkatasana chair pose, where you would fold over and hold your knees. And then if you're in chair pose, you would stretch the arms overhead and of course take a break whenever you need. If you're seated in a chair or in the full squat position, open the knees to the side, just enough to be able to put the torso in between the thighs. And then with the knees open, walk the hands more forward. And then squeeze the knee in toward the sides of the torso. So you can stay here, or take the hands a little wider apart. My hands are off my mat. Draw the hands back toward the feet so that the upper arms press into the tops of the shins. And then bending the elbows out to the side, take the hands around behind you and catch the backs of your ankles with your hands. Squeeze the knees in toward the sides of the torso. Press the upper arms against the knees and the knees against the shins.
lengthen the front of the torso, so that from the top of the pubic bone to the collarbones, there's as much length as possible. And bring your forehead toward the ground, but more because you're lengthening the front of the torso. Relax the tops of the shoulders and the jaw, so the arms are for balance more than, they're not driving the effort of the pose. In fact, you're using the core strength of the body to fold over more. And then release the hands, come up, and then sit with the legs out in front of you. So, Marichasana 1, you might want to sit on a folded blanket here with the legs out in front. And the reason that you would sit on a folded blanket is because the lower back rotates backwards and collapses toward the ground. If you can stay upright, easily upright, maintaining the length on the front of the torso without the support under the hips, then you don't need it. So now, bend the right leg in and bring the right heel relatively in line with the right sitting bone. So this is like half of the squat position. So open the right knee to the side, stretch your right arm up, and with the knee to the side, draw the right side of the torso on the inside of the leg. Walk your right hand out as much as possible. Now clamp the right knee back in. And then option 1 is you just walk the left hand forward and fold. I'm going to give the option for the bind. So that's the internal rotation of the shoulders. So if you're working the bind, take the right arm over to the right, rotate the whole arm so the palm turns up, and keeping the arm low on the shin, as low on the shin as possible. Walk the hand back around behind you and bend the elbow. So you could just stay here and fold forward, or you can pick up the left hand, reach around, and maybe catch your left wrist with your right hand. Fold the torso forward over your left leg. Wherever you are, keep drawing the right side of the torso forward. Squeeze the right knee in toward the torso and lengthen the left leg. Inhale, lift the chest, release the arms, stretch the right leg straight. So all of these options along the way are opportunities for us to tune into the process of the practice rather than the destination of the pose. So make sure that you're working in a way that honors that in your body. And then bend the left leg. Bring the left heel relatively in line with the left sitting bone. Stretch the right leg straight. Open the left, stretch the left arm up. And the right to then draw the left side of the torso through the inside of the left thigh. And walk the left hand as forward as possible. Then bring the left knee more upright. Maybe take the right hand out. Possibly stay here. Possibly work the bind, in which case you'll take the left hand to the left, keeping the elbow on the front of the left shin. Turn the entire left arm so that the palm faces up. Walk it around behind you. It's just like the bottom arm in Gomukhasana, the arm work we did earlier in the practice. And then take the right hand behind you, maybe catch the right wrist with the left hand. Inhale, lengthen the front of the torso. And then as you exhale, fold forward over your right leg. Draw the shoulder blades away from your ears. Lengthen the whole inside edge of the right leg.
So your left sitting bone might lift, but weight the buttocks down toward the ground as much as possible.
Inhale, lift the head and chest, undo the arms as needed, and then come up. Stretch the legs straight. Trianguka Akapada Paschimottanasana. That's the forward bend with one leg in Virasana. So, bend your left leg. Draw your left calf toward your left heel. And put the left knee on the ground with the left foot just to the outside of the left hip. So if this doesn't work for your knee, repeat what we just did, Marichyasana 1. So it's a very similar orientation for the body. So here, relatively speaking, we want the top of the pelvis parallel to the ground. So depending on your body, you might need height under your hips. So again, really assess if this makes sense for your left knee, and if it doesn't, then come back into Marichyasana 1. Make sure you're doing the work that makes sense for your body. And then pressing the thigh bones down, inhale, lift and lengthen the front of the torso. Fold from the top of the thighs. Bring your hands to the ground. Turn the inside edge of the right leg down. Keep the left knee pointing straight forward. And then walking the hands forward, fold over the legs. Lengthen the front line of the torso, from the top of the pubic bone to the collarbones. Soften the jaw and breathe. This internal rotation forward bend is more challenging in bodies. So just recognize that. And again, pay attention to the sensations so that you're in the process of the practice rather than at all costs moving to the destination. Walk the hands back in, inhale, come up. Lift the left knee up, stretch the left leg straight. And then the second side, so bend the right leg in, and I use my hands to pull the calf muscle down toward the heels, just to give a little more space in the knee, and then put the knee on the ground with the right foot at the outside. And I move to the right side of my support so that the right sitting bone has a little less support than the left, and that brings more evenness to the top of the pelvis. Lengthen the left leg, press the back of the left leg down, especially turning the inner knee and the inner thigh toward the ground. And inhale, lengthen the front line of the torso. Keep that length hinge from the tops of the thighs. Walk the hands forward. Very strongly turn the inside edge of the left leg down. And as you turn the inner knee and the inner groin on the left leg down, weight the right buttocks, and then lengthening the front line of the torso, fold the legs. Breathe. Each practice, we make little deposits of presence. We cultivate the direction of the practice, the overall direction of the way we interact with ourselves, and each time we land on the mat. So tune into not just the body in the pose, but how you're relating to your body in the pose. Tune into the movement of the breath. And
and practice training ourselves toward being present in the process. Walk the hands back in, lift the head and chest, pick the right, stretch both legs out straight. Paschimottanasana, but with the feet wider apart. So again, you might want to stay on the support, you might want to come down off of the support, and I'm going to place the feet about as wide as the outside of my hips. Then with the hands, turn the thighs in, especially spin the inner edges of the thighs down toward the ground. Outer edges of the feet perpendicular. Exhale, fold from the tops of the legs. Walk the hands forward. You can have the hands inside in between the feet today. Keep turning very strongly down toward the ground. Tipping the pelvis forward over the thigh bones. Weight the buttocks down. Lengthen the front line of the torso from the top of the pubic bone to the collarbones. Breathe. For the last couple of breaths, peel the low belly back away from the floor, away from the tops of the thighs. And bring more length into the lower back by weighting the buttocks down. And then drawing the back ribs forward, away from the top of the pelvis. Walk the hands back in. Inhale and come up. And then the next one is Marichyasana 3. So sit on support again, perhaps, because with the seated twist, this is a more intense seated twist. We want to have the torso as upright as possible and as much length in the spine before we ask the body to twist. So additional support, even if you don't usually, it might be a good idea. And then bend the right knee in. Move the left foot a little bit over to the left so that there's more capacity to rotate the left thigh in. Tip the right knee in. So I'm even rolling right over to the inner edge of the right foot and picking the outer edge of the foot up. And I'm going to hold the right leg in place with my right hand. Stretch the left arm up. And as you exhale, deeply hook the leg over. I'm going to take my right hand in between my left ribs and the right thigh and use that cage around more. And then take the right hand behind you. Turn the left leg in. So as you rotate the left leg in, bring the right knee upright and twist the torso strongly to the right. Move the head back. Turn the head to send the shoulder blades. And really lengthen up from the pelvis, the base of the pelvis to the crown of the head. Inhale, come back to center. Unwrap. Stretch that leg straight. So right leg straight, a bit over to the right. Bend the left leg in. With the left leg bent in, turn the right inner thigh down. Tip the left knee right across the midline, even the outer edge of the left foot. Stretch the right arm up, and then coming forward, get the hook of the right left leg. Use your left hand to turn the right ribs around more, and then take the left hand behind you. Now rotate that right inner thigh down, bring the left knee upright,
Extend the shoulder blades. Lengthen the front of the torso as best you can. Move the head back. Twist the torso strongly to the left. Breathe. Inhale, come back to center. Unwrap, exhale, stretch both legs out straight. Upavishta Konasana. So this is a seated spread leg forward bend. So for many people it's really nice to have the heels on the mat. So you want to adjust yourself so that when you separate the legs, the heels are on the mat, and one of the reasons that's useful is you can then use it as a marker to make sure the heels are at the same, on the same line. With your hands, turn your thighs in strongly so that the inner knees and the inner thighs turn down toward the ground. So again, here's a place you might want to sit on support, especially the curve of the lower back into the body and the lift in the front of the chest. We're going to come forward from here. So keeping the inner knees and the inner thighs spinning down and the outer edges of the feet pointing straight up in the air. Bring your hands in between your legs. Recognize, again, before you begin, that it's not significant how far forward you come. There's always more to do. So as we get more forward, there's more forward, our head comes down and our chest comes down and our shoulders come down, and it's just endless. So paying attention to the process of your body moving into the pose today. Keep turning the inner knees down. Weight the buttocks, even though the sitting bones may lift. And then tilting the torso forward in between the legs. Walk the hands out. Keep turning the inner knees down toward the ground. Walk the hands out away from you and bring the torso down in between your legs. Remember to breathe and to attune to the breath and the body, to orient the mind toward the process, toward recording the sensations, and to being present with the experience. Maybe bring your forehead down toward the ground. Maybe your chin and your chest. Really, more significantly, turn the inner thighs down. Press the backs of the thighs toward the ground. And then lifting the head and chest, walk the hands back in. Catch the backs of the knees with your hands, bend the knees one at a time, and stretch the legs out straight. The next pose is called Surya Yantrasana, sundial. And so here again, you might want to sit on something. And we're going to do it with the left leg bent, just in a comfortable cross-legged-ish position. So I'm going to start out with my left knee bent, my left foot relatively kind of beside my right leg, my right hip, and my right leg bent. So again, there'll be multiple options for pausing, depending on your body. So, keeping the left leg bent, put the right arm inside the knee, hold at the outside edge of the foot with the right arm, and just squeeze the knee in. So that turning of the knee in
is a really significant part of the pose. And then pick the right foot up and bring the right shin more or less parallel to the ground. So this is a good place to stop. Possibly draw the right knee back toward the wall behind you, and then hold the right foot. So I've taken the left hand and I put it over top of the foot to catch the outer edge of the foot. If I'm moving the right knee back, I want to bring it back so I can put my right shoulder underneath the knee. And to help with that, I take my right thumb to my right calf and I turn the calf toward me. And I put the knee as high up as possible on my right upper arm. And then I put the right upper arm out on the right side. So I'm holding the right foot with the left hand. And now I'm going to stretch the leg straight by squeezing the knee in and turning the inside of the knee more toward my right shoulder. And stretch the leg straight. Lift the chin. Make the leg as straight as possible and turn the torso a little bit to the left. One more breath. And then bend that leg. Release the right arm. Put the right foot on the ground. Stretch both legs out straight. Pause. And then the second side. So bending the knees, put the right foot in front of the left hip and bend the left leg in. Take the left arm inside the knee, catch the outer edge of the foot. So this is just to remind the leg that it's turning in, you're squeezing the leg. So when you stretch the leg straight, it's an internal rotation of the leg. You're not trying to open the leg, you're trying to bring the leg more against the arm as you stretch it straighter. So holding the foot with the left hand, lift the foot up. Use that arm to pull like a sawing kind of action. As you take the knee back, the knee can go out here. And then switch arms. So hold the top of put the right arm over the top of the left foot, catch the outer edge of the foot. Pick the foot up a little bit. Now lean the torso forward and wiggle that knee over the left shoulder as much as possible. And then put the left hand down on the ground, outside of your left hip. Now, as you squeeze the knee in, you move the foot out. So you're really internally rotating that leg in the hip socket. And as you stretch the leg straight, turn the toe a bit to the right. Bring the left knee toward the left shoulder. Reach out through the big toe side of the foot. Twist the torso to the right. One more breath. And then back to center, lower that leg down, release the left arm, the left foot on the ground. Stretch both legs out straight. We're going to do that one more time on each side. It's the first time we don't always know where we're going, like just what the mechanics are. And so the second time gives us a little more opportunity to be present in the process. So bend the legs, put the left foot beside the right hip. Take the right arm inside the knee, catch the foot. Pull it back. Switch arms. So the left hand is now holding the foot. Descend the shoulder blades. And then as you take the knee back, you wiggle it over the shoulder. Push through the big toe side of the foot and squeeze the right knee into the right shoulder. Put the right hand down. Stretch the leg straighter. Doesn't have to go straight. Straighter.
And you take the left elbow behind the head and twist the torso a bit to the left. Push the right arm against the leg, but more importantly, draw the inside of the knee forward against the shoulder and stretch the leg straighter. Bend that knee, release the right arm, put the left foot down, put the right foot down. Stretch both legs out straight. Last time, last side. So bend the knees, put the right foot in front of the left hip, bend the left knee, take the left arm inside the knee, hold the foot, lift the shin up, draw back, change arms. So as I change arms, I'm lifting the right elbow up a bit, and then I'm wiggling the left knee over the shoulder and putting the left hand down on the ground, pointing out. So my left elbow is a bit bent. And then turn the left knee in toward the shoulder to stretch the leg straighter. As you stretch the leg straighter, take the right elbow back behind you. Twist the torso a bit to the right. Move the head back. Stretch the leg straighter. Ish. Breathe. Feel into the shape of the pose, the body molding to the pose, the breath moving, and direct the mind again to assessing appropriate levels of participation in the process of molding the body into shapes, to cultivate presence, and to move toward destinations. Inhale, unwrap. Place both feet on the ground. Stretch both legs out straight. One last Paschimottanasana for a moment, just to relieve the knees. So maybe stay on your support, maybe come off of the support. With your hands, turn your thighs in. Turn the inner knees and the inner thighs down. Press out through the big toe sides of the feet. Hinge forward. As you tilt the pelvis forward, turn the inner edges of the thighs down. Weight the buttocks down. Walk the hands more forward. Lengthen the front line of the torso even as you fold forward over the legs. Breathe. One more breath. Walk the hands back in. Inhale, up. So now we'll spend a bit of time counterposing those deep forward bends. So Vrajasana. Sitting on the blanket or pillow, probably. Take your feet to the left hip. So your right foot is underneath and you're putting the ankle in the arch of the right foot. Turn your right thigh in. Take your right hand behind you. Weight your left hip down. Cross your left hand over so the palm is turned out, over the right thigh so the palm is turned out. Inhale, lengthen the torso. Exhale, twist the torso strongly to the right. Turn the head to the right. Turn the gaze to the right. Now keeping the torso twisting to the right, turn just the head to the left. And look down sort of toward your left knee. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale. Release, change sides. So bring the feet to to the right side. So the left foot is underneath, the left sole of the foot a little bit more turned up, and then put the right ankle on the left arch. Take the left hand behind you. I'm going to turn the left thigh in. And then take the left hand behind you, fingers pointing away, and the right hand crossed over the left thigh with the palm out. Descending the shoulder blades. Inhale, lengthen, especially along the right side of the torso. And as you exhale, turn the right side of the torso to the left. Turn the head to the left. Turn the gaze to the left. Keeping this rotation of the torso to the left. Twist the head to the right. And look slightly down toward the right knee. Inhale back to center. Exhale, stretch both legs out straight. Come onto your back. No, don't come onto your back, sit. But come off of the support. Purvottanasana. First time knees bent. So take the hands about 10 inches behind you, and you can have your hands turned to the sides or rotated around so that they point more or less in the same direction as the toes. As you bend the elbows, point the elbows straight back, so don't overly squeeze the elbows in, but instead have them straight back. And then lift the entire spine in toward the front of the body and up toward the head. So you're arcing the back away from the ground. Bend the knees, place the feet on the ground. Separate the feet hip bone distance apart, and then keeping the knees facing the middle toes. Lift the hips up. Press into the hands, lift the chest. Lift the chin, maybe release the head back. Press the heels down. Keep the knees pointing straight forward. And lift the outer hips faster than the pubic bone. Good, inhale. Exhale, drop the hips down. Stretch the legs out straight. The next version is the full pose with the legs extended. If it's better for your body to do the bent knee position, then do that. If you feel pressure on the fronts of the shoulders in an extreme way, possibly you need a little more length, like the hands a little further back behind you, a little wider apart, or the hands turned a little more out. So this is strong work on the front of the shoulder, and you want to make sure that that's at an appropriate level that's not distressing the rotator cuff. So with the hands turned slightly out and the elbows pointing back. Same thing, lift the entire spine in and up so that there's a big arc in the back away from the ground. Bend the knees if you're doing this with the legs bent, or keep the inhale, lift the hips up. As you lift the hips up, balance on the backs of the heels, and then come forward to put the soles of the feet on the ground. Lift the hips way up, lift the chest, look up, maybe release the head back. Push down into the hands, press into the big toe sides of the feet. Turn the inner thighs down and lift the outer hips up. And then exhale and come down. And then lie on your back. Bandha bridge pose, and then Shavasana. So tuck the tops of the shoulders underneath you. We're going to do a variation of bridge pose here just to work in the upper arms to make sure that we're erasing all of that kind of rounded shoulder position that we were working with earlier in the practice. So with your arms to your sides and your hands just below shoulder height, bend the knees, place the feet on the ground. Turn the legs still a little bit pigeon-toed, so toes slightly in, heels slightly out. And then pushing into the heels, lift the hips up, not a big lift to start. Scoop the tops of the shoulders under. And now here, rotate the entire arms so that the thumbnails come down more toward the ground. But have that rotation really start right at the shoulder joints so that you're clearing the entire front of the chest. And now push firmly into the heels, lift the hips up. Turn the inner thighs down and lift the outer up. Push the heels into the ground to draw your chest toward your chin. Rotate the whole arms so that the sides of the rib cage under the armpits curl up toward the collarbones. One more breath. And then exhale slowly. Bring the hips down. Just take the arms down a little bit. Pause here without any sudden movement. You can just tip the knees together to touch. As you just let the body settle before Shavasana, feel into the body and see if there's any other final movement or position that would be useful for your body. And if so, take that. And if you're ready to move directly into Shavasana, support the head as needed, support the backs of the knees as needed. And over the next moment or two, make your way down into the supine position to rest here. As you make your way into Shavasana, place your legs several inches apart and let the legs turn out just naturally, so you don't really have to make that happen. It just does. Take the arms to the sides of the torso and rotate the whole arm so that the palms face up. Or if it's more comfortable for you in any way, bend the elbows and place the palms on the torso. Close your eyes. The final relaxation position is in many ways the ultimate process pose, because there's infinite layers of tension to uncover, infinite layers of relaxation to become more familiar with. This is also a pose that allows the process of the practice to integrate. So from here, from this position, let go completely. Feel into the places that you hold tension, either from the day or chronically. And begin the process of letting that tension dissolve, recognizing that that's not something that's going to happen just today, necessarily. That the process of releasing tension is a continual
focus. Especially soften the belly, a place where we hold a lot. Especially relax the shoulders. Completely relax the jaw, eyes, and let all of the muscles of the face become slack, soft, like a baby sleeping. As best you can be with the body and the breath. And as you feel into the body at rest and the breath at rest, make your way into the center, into the heart of you, a place that is unconcerned about destinations. And is deeply invested in the experience. And know that staying connected there is the most useful practice that we cultivate through our time on the mat, our time on the cushion, and eventually in our day-to-day life. Gently deepen your breath. And staying quiet as much as possible. With the next step in, bend the knees, place the feet on the ground. And then supporting the head with the right arm as needed. Roll to your right side. Press yourself up. Come to sit. Sitting well, close your eyes. And join your hands together at your heart. May our practice direct us toward the process without fixating on the goals, so that we tune into the lessons, the revelations, the illuminations that we find along the way. And may that orientation anchor us in our center. We'll seal the practice on the mat with a single Om. Take a breath in. Thank you.